How do you get ahead and achieve the goals and dreams that you want? How do you create the life you want? Well, of course, you take bold moves. You be courageous and brave and move forward towards your goals. But what are those moves? What if they are the exact opposite of what your brain most of the time is telling you you should be doing? This is Better Than Happy. I'm Jody Moore, and today we're breaking down 12 power moves that will help you succeed at anything in life. Let's go. Hey there, my friends. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining me here at Better Than Happy. I'm very excited to talk to you about these things that have been on my mind a lot lately. I'm seeing them come up in a lot of people's lives, things that people are steering away from, that they should be headed right towards, and things that they're headed towards and spending time and focus and energy on that they should be getting far away from. So I'm going to break it all down for you here today. Before we get into that, I want to invite you to come and join me at an event I'm going to be speaking at in June in Salt Lake City. It's on June 13th, and it is called the Limitless Arena. And picture a bunch of really tough bros and me and just one or two other women. We are bringing the feminine energy. We are bringing some balance to this event, but I'm super excited to be coming both as an attendee and to get to speak on that stage. It's going to be a day of motivation, a day of giving you a little kick in the butt. There are many successful people speaking at this event, and I have coupon codes so that you can get a free seat or a discounted seat if you want to upgrade to a little bit better seat. So head to thelimitlessarena.com and grab one of the $97 seats completely free with coupon code JodyMoore97. Don't forget, that's Jody with a Y, JodyMoore97. Or you can upgrade to a little bit better seat and get it 50% off by using coupon code JodyMoore50. So that will work on any seat other than the VIP seats. Those are going to be full price seats. You should grab one of those if you want to really treat yourself that day. But otherwise, grab a discounted seat or a free seat and come and hang out with me at the Limitless Arena. It's going to be a pretty awesome day. All right, so we're going to talk today about courageous power moves, about being more bold. And you don't have to be more bold. I'm not here to tell you that you should be more bold. I'm here to tell you that if you want to achieve things that are not happening in the timeline that you wish they were, if it feels like things are going slow or you feel stuck, right? People tell me this sometimes, I'm just stuck, which is, by the way, not a thing. You're not a tire in the mud. You're not stuck. But I know what people mean when they talk about that feeling, that they're not making progress in what feels like a reasonable time frame. They're tired of waiting around. And they feel like they're taking action, but things aren't progressing, okay? Or maybe you're not taking the action. Maybe you can't get yourself moving. Either way, what I want you to do is take more bold action. I don't want you to take more action necessarily. Some of you need to take more action, but many of you don't need to. What you need to do is take different action, more courageous action, more outrageous action, even action that feels different than what your brain and even most of the people in your life and in the world are telling you you should be doing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What are those things? I've got 12 power moves, I'm calling them, because these are things that successful people do. People who are successful at whatever are their goals, and I just want you to be successful at your goals, are taking action like this. I'm going to give you lots of examples, and we're going to dive right in with number one. Are you ready? Number one is something that I talk about all the time. I know I've even talked about this on recent episodes, so maybe you've heard me talk about it, but there's a reason why I'm still talking about it. Because most people are still not willing to do this, and that is to be bad at things. To do things that you are bad at. Because you want to become good at them. Because you know that the only way to become good at things is to be bad at them first. I cannot get over how many people tell me they want to get better at something. And then when I say, great, let's practice it. Who wants to come on my Zoom call, for example, if I'm teaching a workshop, and raise your hand and practice this thing that everybody's there. They're paying money to be there. They're putting their time in. They've even blocked time off on their calendar to come and be there live. And then I say, raise your hand if you will come on and practice it. And guess what happens? First, no hands go up. Then maybe one, maybe two, maybe three. And I'm talking on a call that has hundreds of people attending at once. I'm lucky to get 3 or 4 people that will raise their hand, that will come on and practice whatever the skill is we're practicing that day. And this is a skill they tell me they want to get better at. You know why? Because we're afraid to be bad at things, especially if other people are watching. Why is that? Well, it's just part of how we're wired as human beings, right? The primitive brain says, don't let people see your weaknesses. Don't let them see that you're flawed. Don't let them see that you're not good at something. But if we really break it down, it makes no sense at all. It's okay to not be good at things. Did you know this? It really is. It's not only okay, it's what courageous, brave, successful, winning people do. They're willing to be not good at it first in front of people. They raise their hand. I can always tell the students in my workshops who are going to succeed the fastest because they're the ones that raise their hands and say, pick me. I'll come on. I want to practice. I want your feedback, coach. I want the practice time. Those are the people that succeed. There are not people who are born just really good at things. There are, but they're few and far between. And you don't have to be that person to succeed at whatever it is that you want to do. So be willing to be bad at things. Now, how do you get to be willing to be bad at things? You just sign up for as many things as you have the desire to achieve that you're not good at. Don't just sign up for the things that you're already good at. Sometimes sign up for the things you're not good at. And notice that it requires a connection with yourself. It requires courage. It requires overriding that primitive survival brain. And that's what I want for you more than anything, because the more times you practice overriding that brain, I'm not talking about being mad at it. I'm not talking about shutting it down. I'm not even talking about not being nervous. You just let yourself be nervous and you let your brain say to you, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea. And you just say, it's okay. This isn't actually dangerous. We're just going to go try something new and be not good at it. And meanwhile, we're going to love ourselves and appreciate ourselves and connect with ourselves and be proud of ourselves for trying it. How often do you do that? Do you ever say to yourself, thanks so much for trying, even though you messed up royally? Or do you just say, you're sure not good at that? Because you got to learn to talk to yourself positively, to be your biggest cheerleader, your biggest supporter, if you're going to achieve next level things in your life. Number 2. I just had this realization a few weeks ago. Maybe I'm slow. Maybe some of you already realized this, but I had this realization that in our world, it's not cool to try. Again, I talked about this concept on a different episode recently, but I want to flesh it out a little bit more here. We love to point and laugh at and mock people who are trying. This is what we do when we get onto Instagram or TikTok or whatever is your social media of choice. We find videos of people who are trying. You know how we know they're trying? Because it doesn't look natural. It's not authentic. It's them trying. And we don't have to try to do things that we're already good at, that we've already figured out our own routine and rhythm. But if you haven't figured that out yet, you're going to have to try first. And trying for some reason is just not cool. Even when we have kids, right? We say things to them like, I'm so proud of you. You did such a good job on that math test and you didn't even study for it. Well done. As though that's more admirable. This is what Carol Dweck talks about with her growth mindset, right? We praise people who can do things naturally, who didn't have to be bad at it, who didn't have to practice it, who didn't even have to try. Isn't that amazing? He doesn't even have to try. He's just so good at it. Okay, so yes, we can admire natural talent. I'm all for that. But what about admiring the trying? I think that trying is one of the most bold, courageous, awesome power moves you can do. Just admit that you're trying. Like Taylor Swift does. This is me trying, right? Admit that you're trying. Admit that you don't know what you're doing if you want to, and just be bad at it. I know this goes right along with number 1, but sometimes I need to remind people, I feel like when I'm coaching them, when they say, I just don't know how, it feels really awkward. I'm like, so you're going to have to try extra hard. And how bad is it of you to just decide to try and to tell people that you're trying if you want to? Oh, it's so like nothing gets me more inspired than seeing someone try something. I no longer laugh at them and point fingers and mock them. I think like that takes some serious courage to go out there and try like that. I love that. I admire that. I respect that. I want to do more of that in my own life. Power move number 3, that again requires so much courage because people will mock you for it. They will. Some people will. They will think that you're ridiculous. They'll laugh at you. And by the way, when people mock you and laugh at you and think you're ridiculous, it's coming from their own insecurity, their own lack of ability to access their own courage, to be bold in their own lives in the way that they want to. That's the only place it's coming from. It's not coming from anything that is a trait that you would want to emulate. Okay. So number 3 is to just like yourself, to approve of yourself, to accept yourself, to just like yourself. And even more cool if you do it out loud. How rare is that in our world, especially for females? I was listening the other day to Brandi Carlile be interviewed somewhere. I don't remember where, but she's a musician, right? And the person interviewing her was talking to her about how her look has changed over the years. Her hair has changed. Maybe it was on Amy Poehler's podcast. Anyway, I don't remember. But Brandi Carlile was talking about how, yes, her look has changed as her identity has changed, as she's matured, as she's come to own a little bit more who she is. But then she said this that I love. She said, but you know what? I've just always really liked the way I look. I like my face. I like the way I look. And I was like, oh, that is so bold and awesome that she would just, first of all, choose to feel that way. But second of all, just say it out loud. Because we don't say that in our society, right? We keep that to ourselves. All we say is all the things we don't like about ourselves. And for most people, that's just their internal truth. They don't like a lot of things about themselves. But for the ones that do, they feel like they should just keep it a secret because is it okay to like myself? Yes, it's okay to like yourself. It doesn't mean that you think you're better than anyone else. That's not the vibe I got from Brandi when she was talking about that. It doesn't even mean that she was saying that she thinks she's the most beautiful person that exists. She just said, I just like my face. I like how I look. So whether it's your face or your efforts or your successes and achievements or just the fact that you're trying, you can just choose to like yourself. Did you know this? It's a choice. It's not just, I noticed I like this thing and I don't like this thing. What you like and what you dislike is within your control. If you want to like something more or dislike something less, you absolutely have the ability to do that. It's called managing your mind. It's called stopping and paying attention and choosing intentionally what you're going to believe. And I don't mean just lying to yourself. I don't mean just saying positive affirmations. I mean really slowing it down and pulling it all apart and examining the fact that what we like and dislike is mostly just fed to us by society, by the media, by social media, by entertainment. It's just fed to us and we take it and go, yeah, I think I like that now. But guess what? You have the ability to decide what you like and to mold your own ideas and your own opinions and your own thoughts. And I want you to do that in a way that serves you. Start by liking yourself. It doesn't mean you're not aware of your shortcomings. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4, bold power move is to do it differently than everyone else is doing it. Now, again, your brain will tell you that the opposite would be ideal, that you should try to do things the same as everyone else, that you should blend in with everyone else, and that if everyone's doing it a certain way, there's a reason why, and it must be that that is the best way to do it. But think about people who succeed at high levels. They do it differently, and they don't do it differently just for the sake of doing it differently. They do it differently because they are different. That's why I want you to do it differently, because you are not like any other person who has ever lived. You are different. Who's seen the Michael Jackson movie? Raise your hand. Who's seen it 3 times? Just me? Okay. Michael Jackson did it differently. He took pieces and inspiration from other people, but he made it his own in the end. He danced differently. He created music differently. He approached the whole industry differently. His voice was different. He's different. I think we can all agree on that. He achieved extraordinary levels of success. So think about anybody who you respect in some way. They are doing it differently than everyone else because they have discovered what is the best way for them, what is authentic to them. All right. Now, I get nervous about how often we use that word authenticity in the world of self-help. I think it's a little overused and it makes everybody nervous. Like, oh no, I got to be authentic. And I think it's fine to have a balance between being authentic and being strategic about what's going to help you achieve what you want to. Okay. So I want to be clear on that. But there are times when you're going to need to make a power move and it's going to be you doing it differently. Pay attention for that. All right. Number 5, go first. This is kind of a piggyback on doing it differently, right? Because as soon as you start doing something differently, or as soon as anyone does, then we start seeing other people emulate what they're doing, especially if they achieve success with it, right? But be the one to go first. And that might mean doing something differently, but it can mean a lot of other things as well. It can mean, hey, I'm in a class and we're learning a new skill. I'm going to go first at trying it out. Like I was talking about in the beginning of being bad at things, right? Sometimes for me, it's a strategy or a method or a message I want to put out or something. And my brain says to me, nobody's doing that we're aware of. So there must be a reason why they're not doing it. And one way to think about it is I'm going to do it differently. But another way I think about it sometimes is, well, I'm going to go first because I think this is a good idea. I think this is a good strategy. I think this is a useful message. So I will just be the one to go first. That's how I thought about it when I started this coaching practice over 12 years ago. Not that there weren't any LDS life coaches. There just weren't very many. I didn't really know of very many anyway. Maybe there were, but I didn't know of them. And I remember thinking, is this going to go okay? Are people in my faith going to be accepting of this? And am I going to be able to incorporate the two the way I think I want to? Why is nobody else really doing this? And I just told myself, well, you're just going to have to go first. And I'm so glad I did that. It helped so many people who said, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense to me. This resonates. So sometimes you got to be the one, my friend. Go first. All right, let's talk about number 6. Number 6 is one I've been thinking about a lot, and it's one I'm trying to work on personally, which is to have a viewpoint. Do you realize how bold it is to have a viewpoint? Maybe you want to call it an opinion, maybe you want to call it a stance, but have a viewpoint. Now, not about everything. Okay, you don't need to have an opinion, a stance on everything in the world. Most people are walking around with viewpoints and opinions on things that are actually none of their business because they have no influence over these things, right? So for example, everybody in the country seems to have an opinion about politics right now. And I'm talking mostly about the people who have zero to do with politics other than when it's time to vote, in which case you should have a viewpoint. But these are people who do not work in government positions. They are not taking any action to write into their congressman or to lobby against anything. They're just people sitting at home, clicking the remote control or scrolling social media, having very strong viewpoints, right? And then when I ask people, what do you think you want to do in this situation with your child? What are you thinking you want to do in your business? What do you think is the next right move with regards to this goal you're trying to achieve? They'll say, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? You don't know about your own business, but you know about how the country should be run? Interesting, right? So I want you to drop your viewpoints or at least just soften them up a little bit, right? Like I have opinions and ideas about things going on in the country, in the school district, in whatever other, things I'm involved in my life, but not strong ones because I don't spend the time to do all the research and I'm not out there lobbying or fighting for something or participating in it. So it's kind of a waste of my brain to have a really strong viewpoint about those things until it's time for me to vote or whatever. But when it comes to my family, my business, my house, things that I do have direct influence over, I'm going to take a unique viewpoint. That's my job, to have an opinion about what would best take care of my clients. That is my responsibility. Okay, so have an opinion. Now, what if you're wrong? What if you take a guess about what's going to be best to do next with your child or in your business or with regards to your health, what eating plan you should follow, what exercise routine you should implement? What if you take a guess and you're wrong, meaning you don't get the result you wanted as you execute it? That's okay. I would still rather you have a viewpoint. That's why people don't have viewpoints. They're like, well, I don't want to be wrong. What if I'm wrong? Well, not having a viewpoint is going to guarantee you don't make the progress. So let's just take a guess and get a little bit better at understanding what's going on or learning what doesn't work. Have a viewpoint. Now, that might take a more artistic meaning for you. If you are an artist or even you're a content creator like I am, having a viewpoint makes me more interesting and more relevant to people than just repeating the same things everyone else is saying. And you know what else having a viewpoint is? Scary. Because if I have an opinion and I put it out there, I can pretty well guarantee some people are going to disagree with me. And I'm not doing it for that purpose. I'm not trying to stir up drama. But if I don't have an opinion or viewpoint, it's very boring to listen to. Number seven is to be willing to be wrong. Now, this does go with having a viewpoint, right? Or taking a guess, choosing a strategy, choosing an approach, etc. But I'm also talking about your interactions with other people. I think back to my days in corporate when I worked for a Fortune 500 company, and occasionally I would get to be in meetings with some higher ups from the organization. Those people who were succeeding in my mind, meaning not only had they earned a higher position and they had more responsibility and were making more money and everything, but I'm talking about also the people who I respected, who I felt like had solid values and were good people and took care of those around them. Those kind of people, right? Truly successful people. Do you know what they would say so many more times than I expected? We'd be in a meeting and somebody who's in a more lowly position like myself would speak up and they'd say, wait a second, tell me again why you think that. And they would be looking for someone to challenge their current viewpoint. They're looking for critical thinking. They're not just looking for people who are yes people who are going to agree with everything they say. They want people who will go, now, wait a second, let's think critically through this. Let's push back on it. Let's think about what's going to be great about it and what's going to be hard about it. Do you know what to me is, again, so boring? Is listening to someone who just agrees with everything that anyone in authority above them says. It's boring, right? It's okay to have pushback and think critically about things. And it doesn't mean that we need to get into a fight. And it doesn't mean that we don't eventually all end up agreeing and executing in a strategic way. But in the really motivating and successful meetings I was in, the most successful people were saying, now, tell me why I may be wrong about this. For those of you that use AI right now, that like to ask AI questions about your life or to help you with your goals or whatever, make sure that you ask AI for both opinions. Don't just say, I'm thinking of doing this thing. Can you give me ideas for it? Because it will come back and say, that's a great idea. That's going to work so well. So I like to say to AI, now also tell me why this might be a terrible strategy. Tell me why this may go wrong. I want to have pushback and critical thinking, and I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong, and I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. And that is something that took me a long time to master, and I'm sure in certain areas I still have a lot of work to do, but it's a bold move that helps me achieve success. Now, remember, your brain will tell you the opposite. It will say, we don't want to be wrong about this. And I'll say, why not? I'm willing to be wrong. Let's go. Number 8. This is another power move that for some of you might already come easily. For some of you, it's something you're going to have to try on. And that is to like other people. Now, there are probably some people in your life that it's very easy for you to like, that you already like, that you mostly always like. Great. Keep that. And I'm not even saying you have to like everyone in the world. But are there times when there's an unpopular person that it might be to your benefit to like and support? And by unpopular, I just mean maybe they're not like you. Maybe they're not like the other people that you hang out with. I think this is something that for some reason has always come more natural to me than some of my friends and peers. I notice this because I can learn from so many different kinds of teachers. And I love to learn from all different kinds of teachers. I love to learn from people who are a lot like me. But I also love learning from people who have very different values than me, people who are living different lifestyles than me, people who vote differently than me, people who speak differently than me, who might use different language than I do. I like to learn from a variety of types of people who I still would classify as good people with overall good values, even if we don't agree 100% on everything. Okay? And I like those people. I can find the good in them and I can respect them and I can take from them what is valuable and leave the parts that don't apply to me in my life. And this is a power move because most people will just play it safe and they'll only like people that they agree with pretty much 100%. Choose to like people sometimes who are very different than you. Again, another example is coming to my mind is when Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart decided to partner together, right? I don't know when they first officially met, but I know at somebody's comedy roast, maybe it was Snoop Dogg's, I don't know. Anyway, there was a comedy roast for somebody. Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart were both there. I saw this in the Martha Stewart documentary. And Martha was really funny. And Snoop at one point said, I need to be around her. I need to learn from her. She's succeeding at a high level and I like her. How uncool was it for Snoop Dogg to like Martha Stewart? I don't know. How risky was it for Martha Stewart to partner with Snoop Dogg? But they saw the mutually beneficial opportunities by supporting one another. And that's what successful people do. And it takes courage, my friend. Okay, number 9, bold power move is to own your own emotions. Own your own emotions. Don't blame other people for them. Do not give them away to something or somebody out in the world. Do not delegate them to others. Do not blame others for them. Own them. Keep the ownership over them. And you can regulate them when you want to. My point is to not be reactive to them. Don't give the credit to others, but also don't let your emotions own you. I know this is a skill that some of you are going, but how do I do that? And I'm going to try to give you the summary of it, but it is something that might require some practice and some more extensive learning. But here's what I'll say for today. Emotions are not dangerous. They are not anything gone wrong. You're not sick. You don't have the flu when you're experiencing anxiety. You have a very natural, normal, healthy human hormone or chemical circulating throughout your body that's trying to tell you something. And it might be an error message. It might be that you're not in real danger, that there's nothing you need to be anxious about. But nevertheless, that chemical and hormone is not bad for you. It's not something gone wrong. It's just the human body doing what human bodies do, which is to try to give us warning signals internally based on what it believes is happening in the world around us. So when you know that, you can take deep breaths and relax and open up to the emotions and let your body move them through you. Meditation is a great way to do this. Coaching is a great way to do this. Just taking time to get into your body and be embodied. Anything that is going to focus on embodiment, it's going to help you move emotions. Moving your body, coincidentally, also helps move emotions, which would make sense, right? But I want you to own them by opening up and allowing them and not reacting to them. And I also want you to keep the credit for them by knowing they're created by the sentences in your mind. And it's okay that you have those sentences. It's okay that you're creating those emotions. But if you keep the ownership, you have so much more authority over yourself and over your success and your future. Because as you go after big things in your life, there will be negative emotions that will come up. We're not going to avoid that part. We're not going to skip over that part. We're going to learn how to very gently move through that part and how to grow from that part, how to evolve from that part, and how to become even more in control of yourself and your emotional life as you move through those parts. Number 10 is, again, a little bit of an expansion on number 9, which is to allow negative emotions. But I wanted to separate it out because first, we're owning all of our emotions. So don't forget, when you own emotions, you also need to own the positive ones. You are not delighted because something went well. You're not relieved because your child is doing better. You're not happy because your husband said something kind. You're relieved and happy and excited because of what you're thinking. But again, for number 10, we're going to also allow the negative emotions, which I just talked about a little bit, but I want to give another example. If you saw the Eras Tour docuseries on Disney Plus, and if you haven't, you should immediately go watch it. But at any rate, in one of the episodes, Taylor Swift goes and meets with some families who have just experienced a tragedy. Okay. And she's doing this out of goodwill to support these people. and she wants to be strong for them. So she tries to keep her emotions in check while she meets with them and just wants to kind of make their day a little bit. But then after she leaves that meeting, she sits down on the couch and lets herself break down and cry. And again, this is on a documentary series, so I don't know how long the cameras were rolling. I don't know what really happened after that, etc. But the way it was portrayed and what I hope is true is that she gives herself time to be sad. She knows she's not going to stay sad all night. She's got a show to go to. And she's going to try to find the appropriate time, but she knows she needs time to sit and process the emotions that she's feeling of grief and overwhelm and sadness and even horror. And that it is normal that she would have those emotions, and it is normal that she would give herself a chance to just feel them. And she might need to ask people to leave her alone. She might need some time, right? But all of us are wired that way, my friends. And I know if you've got little kids around or something, or you're at work, people love to say to me, well, I don't have that luxury. I can't just tell people to leave me alone. I'm like, you can though, for a minute. Or you can be there with your kids. I remember when my kids were little, I would be in my car and I would just be in my own head going, just breathe, just do frustration right now. We're just going to do frustration. And it was an internal process as much as anything, which absolutely can be done. But man, what a bold power move to just allow negative emotions. And if people try to talk you out of them, to go, no, it's okay. I just want to be sad for a little bit. Thanks though. I'm good. Power move right there, my friends. All right. Number 11 is kind of an interesting one that I was thinking about as I was preparing this, which is sometimes it is a bold power move to speak up, and sometimes it's a bold power move to stay silent. But knowing when is usually, again, the opposite of what your primitive brain tells you. So if speaking up feels like the scary thing to do, then that's probably the power move in that situation. And likewise, if staying silent feels like the scary thing to do, then that's probably the right thing to do in that situation. So we tend to speak up, again, at the effect of emotions when we're reacting to anger or some kind of an emotion. And then we speak up, but it's with anger and it's not usually exactly what we mean even. It's just a reactive kind of speaking up, right? And then we tend to stay silent when we have a more well-formed opinion, but we're just afraid it's not going to be popular or well-received, or it's not the common opinion. And so I want us to switch those two things. I want us to choose to stay silent when we know, hey, I'm in an emotional state right now. I'm probably not going to say what I exactly mean. I'm just going to choose to stay silent. Or maybe this is not a situation that is worth hashing out. I can just have an opinion and keep it to myself. Many times for me, staying silent is the bold move because I want to speak up. I want to share my opinion. And I have to remind myself, you don't always need to share your opinion, Jody. You can just keep it to yourself silently. It's like sometimes so much more powerful to just keep it to yourself. And then other times, right? And for others of you, maybe speaking up is the power move you need to lean into a little bit more, to say what's on your mind, to be willing to, again, have an opinion, to be different, to be wrong. And when might that serve you? I don't know. Would that serve you in your church calling sometimes? Would that serve you in your business? Would that serve you with your coaching clients? Would it serve you in your marriage? There's usually a lot of different instances when we realize, I need to speak up more here and I need to be silent more here. Totally bold power move, right? And the last one, which is one of my most favorite ones that anytime I offer this to people, they say, I love that one. I'm adopting that right away, is sincere generosity. It is such a bold move to be generous. And again, most people go, yeah, I want to be generous. And I do consider myself to be a generous person. And so you probably already are generous. But here's what I mean by it and why I wanted to bring it up here is the primitive brain tends towards scarcity and lack. Right? The primitive brain is afraid that we're going to run out of resources. We're going to run out of money. We're going to run out of time. There's not going to be enough of whatever it is that we think we need and want in our lives. And so sincere generosity is going to require that you quiet that scarcity part of your brain, that you answer it with, oh, no, there's always plenty. And there's plenty more where that came from. And we're going to be generous and giving here when we choose to. And again, it's got to be on your terms. That's what makes it sincere generosity. I'm not talking about giving in to someone's demands because you're afraid to say no. I'm not talking about, again, not having boundaries and not having difficult conversations. I'm talking about sincerely going, you know what would be fun here is to be very generous in this way, to give even more than we had planned on, or to give a refund. Sometimes giving a refund is super generous. Sometimes just giving extra is generous. Sometimes surprising someone, especially if we do it anonymously, makes it even more sincere, right? Because the only reward we get is our own internal validation, not an external thing. Sincere generosity is a bold power move that most people steer away from because they're listening to that primitive scarcity part of their brains. All right, my friends, those are the 12 power moves I've got for you today. I'd love to hear how it goes if you execute one. And don't forget that we are on YouTube now. If you want to get Better Than Happy in video form and come and hang out with me in person and see my face, see what I'm wearing, come to YouTube. Come and search for Better Than Happy on YouTube. I'd love to have you join me there. Don't forget to subscribe and follow wherever you're listening, and share this episode with a friend if you got a lot out of it. Thanks for being here today. See you next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to today's YouTube video. I hope that you got some great takeaways that will make your life even better than happy. If you liked what you heard here today, please share it with a friend. And most importantly, make sure that you've subscribed and enabled notifications here on our YouTube channel. Doing that serves two purposes. First, it helps you to make sure that you never miss an episode when we release a new one. But second of all, selfishly, it helps me get my work out to more people and helps our YouTube channel grow. So thank you in advance. I will see you next time on another episode.